of antiquity. Um, right now, you are probably wondering where I'm at, right? I am living in Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia. It's August, and it's been very interesting to say the least. Uh, right now, I'm teaching AP World History for 12th grade and 11th grade, and also for 10th grade, I teach ancient world. Sorry, I'm a little nervous doing this for the first time. I teach ancient world, and then for grades 9A through 7B, or really 7A, yeah, 7B, what I do is I teach history projects. And so for the AP courses, of course, I am following the AP curriculum, and we're working our way through some of the units right now. We're just about to get into Unit 2, beginning in November, which will be the start of the next term that they have here in Mongolia. And then in Ancient World, I have a little bit more flexibility. In fact, I have all the flexibility in the world. We've been reviewing several exciting things such as city-states, the nature of governance and kingship and rulership in the ancient world. We've been talking about burials and perceptions of death. We also have talking about myths and different mythologies and some of the more important mythologies in the world, particularly the Gilgamesh epic, which has been a great boon to our studies and has really proven very profitable because the students are now able to follow along with several of the ideas, and I'm able to go back and reference them in different lessons. We also did a lesson on ancient warfare and talked about the nature of war and how it's been with us since the very beginning of time, and how we are just, these classes for a week. And so what I do is I work to have them do things like we'll write on ostrakhan, broken pottery shards, write on leaves because some cultures wrote their history on leaves. Also, we have done site survey, trash, but we were able to go back into the classroom. Everybody was mandated, told to have one object per person. So we went in, what can we tell about the culture? What can we tell about the people through the objects that they found? What does it say about a particular site? There's a place where an iPod, something we're going to be taking and burying, and I know this is definitely the upper level ones are struggling, and that is because even though those classes are lecture based, doing so in English is a struggle for some of the classes. And I think that one of the other challenges is to try to find ways to engage them to see history as relevant. Many of the Mongolian students only study Mongolian. The classes are divided between their the classes are divided between their level of English. So if their level of English is advanced, it's an A class, and if their English level is lower, it is a B level class. So for 12A, and I only have a section or a very narrow slice of 12A, so it's even just like out of 25 students, 20, especially in this regard, these students do not have that background information. The AP necessarily assume that these students really begin to ramp up their desire and their hope to go to a Western institution. And especially for a country, again, as remote, and it's not relevant for their life. So they haven't been hearing about these societies before. They're just now gaining these perspectives, things that kids in the West would be learning about since first grade or fifth grade or sixth grade. So there is a challenge of back building. Literally, I spent the almost first month of the fall term going over foundational issues to put on top of it, talk about coerced labor and all coming down like it is right now. There are a lot of technical issues, so may have been a weird break there, weird pause. Not 100% sure where I engage the students with this leftist propaganda. And when I have to go out and do research, because our school does not have textbooks. And since we do not have textbooks, it is entirely, and what ends up happening is I'm really running into certain, and definitely like the Spanish conquistador period and other periods with, heavy political nuances and inflection points. And it's just very difficult and some of the students don't like it because they have been under communism, the communism of the Russians and the communism of the Chinese, and they reject that and they wonder, why are you, having, ideological layer that has been placed on the historical layer and try to give them the raw facts and the raw understanding of what's going on and let them draw. We have a lot of documentation gaps. We have a lot of different theories. And so what happens is, like a puzzle bent to the researcher, but I have really striven for the ability to take a Rankian or a Ronkian, depending on how you pronounce it, approach and to neglect the political and just try to be honest about, okay, there's a gap here in our knowledge and we don't know. Get to 11th grade, as these groups move up, then they will have an excellent foundation for for further study. And one of the is that the bureaucracy and the paperwork of what Mongolia expects and requires is just an Olympic amount of bureaucracy, and it takes a long time. So there are just very many different challenges everywhere that I have taught history. Never adjust the teaching strategy or do something to meet the kids where they were at. I got some kind of nick or a complaint, or translations were stolen. Just all kinds of things. And I'll be honest, I left that job. I left the job in Korea because Korea is probably the toughest. I thought that Korea was the toughest teaching environment. I'm not so sure about that anymore. I might have an adjustment in my friends who are Anglo, their kid an education that will be on par with what they would receive in their native country, or would at least be somewhat on par, and keep their child from falling behind. And that is the type of environment that I have been questing after and seeking after. But I have found myself cutting my teeth and growing stronger for discipline or topic. So you're never going to get universal agreement, but I tend to look for where the mass of agreement is, if you will. Just like Harvard, and not issues of teaching in a foreign environment. But I hope that you have enjoyed this, and I hope that you will tune in next time to hear some definitive historical information. And this, I hope, is a good introduction and somewhat of an entree into my background, my experience, my knowledge, or multiple journals: Journal of International Affairs, Severn Scroll History Journal, Elite Journal, and I think I'm leaving out 2 more skill sets in a couple of different areas. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you next weekend.